Patter, let's get at her. It is another episode of the Manely Broncos Podcast. We are days and days away from it being draft season, and we are excited because it means that we have the chance to make another Denver Broncos mock draft. Now, we will try our hardest. Brandon and I may be trying our hardest not to strangle each other into the, on the screen, if you will. We'll try and be nice about it. The fact is, we don't know whether or not we're
recording in the same room. He'd be dead.
We don't know whether or not we see eye to eye necessarily of maybe what they will do, or maybe a scenario of what could happen. For the Broncos, even if you will, trading back or, yeah.
Put it this way, the one thing we've agreed on is that we're trying to do this based on what we think is going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing we've agreed on. So.
Exactly. That is the only thing we've agreed on. And I'll tell you what, if we have enough time
for my pick, go ahead.
And I'll tell you what, if we have enough time to tell the listeners and everybody that is in the chat, you will get a bonus mock draft. If we have enough time. To the people that are listening and watching us on the stream, thank you guys so much. Make sure you click that subscribe button over there on the MHRT Network YouTube page. And remember that we are every Wednesday at 7:30 Mountain Time. And this particular episode, we are going to be doing another mock draft, a mock draft 2.0, because it is getting ever so closer, Brandon, to draft month of April. And actually, so much so that we have some exciting news about a guest who will be coming on the Manely Broncos podcast mid-April. I want to say it's about a week before the draft. We have a massive guest. The timing could not have been any better for a guest like that. So get ready, get prepared for him as a guest. So we're certainly looking forward to it.
Yeah, Cam texted the name in our group chat, and I was thoroughly surprised. So I'm pretty excited for you guys to know what that is.
He was so surprised he never even responded.
Yeah, I literally couldn't. I couldn't function. I kind of just went into shock, and I think I forgot how to use my brain, so I just never replied.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so again, if we have some bonus time, we will run a mock draft. And if we do, we will use the Pro Football Network mock draft. I see Jolene. She's been a guest over here at the Manely Broncos podcast before. What's up, Jolene? I know you're a huge fan of those mock drafts. We'll definitely get your opinion and others who are in the chat of possibly maybe a direction that they can go, or your guys' thoughts on the selection as we go forward with this mock draft. It is draft season. Before we dive into any of the draft stuff, Brandon, it's at least notable to talk about a trade that went down, and not just a trade, but a trade and extension that went down with the city of Ohio, or the state of Ohio.
The city of Ohio?
Yeah, city of Ohio. Cleveland Browns.
You're the one that's unable to function. Yeah, so if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, obviously we have the Jerry Jeudy trade, but they also went ahead and extended him for 3 years. I think it was, 38 million? 48 million?
Almost 20 million a year.
It was a lot. And I have thoughts. Look, good for Jerry Jeudy. That's all I'm going to say up front here is good for Jerry Jeudy. Dude got some money. Like, always going to say that's good for the player. I'm trying to think of the nicest way to say this. I don't know if I would say that it's good for the Browns. And the only reason I say that, I think Jerry Jeudy is a great player. I think you can realistically, there is a chance that you're able to see the Jerry Jeudy that you saw at Alabama in Cleveland that we weren't able to see in Denver, primarily because of just awful quarterback play. The problem is the quarterback play that much better in Cleveland? Like, I don't know. You have what was it, $230 million for Deshaun Watson, whatever Deshaun Watson's ridiculous fully guaranteed contract is, and he's been awful, just straight up awful. The Joe Flacco comes in and looks like Tom Brady for them. Joe Flacco's now gone. Joe Flacco went to, I think, was it Indy?
Jameis Winston is a Brown.
Yeah, Jameis Winston. I mean, he might be better than Deshaun Watson, but my point is, but Deshaun Watson's going to be the starter. Like, they're not going to make. They might say that there's a competition, but Deshaun Watson's the starter. For what they gave up for him, what they paid him, he's going to be their quarterback. And maybe he turns it around. I don't know. But you have a quarterback that's been just bad for multiple years. And then you have a wide receiver who's proven that he can't necessarily bypass. That's not the right word. He can't rise above bad quarterback play. And I'm not saying that in the sense of him being a bad wide receiver. I'm saying that in the sense that he can get open as much as he wants, but like he's not going to be. He gets dragged down by the quarterback. That's all I'm going to say. Like, he runs a great route. He gets open. It doesn't matter. He's just going to get his cardio in because the quarterback's not going to throw him, not going to see to him, not going to give him the ball. And maybe Deshaun Watson and him like set up a chemistry and he's better. But again, I'm good for Jerry Jeudy. I'm glad he got the bag, but I'm just, I'm happy for him because if they didn't extend him right away, I don't know if they were going to, because I don't know what they're going to get from him. I don't know how he's going to produce in that system with a quarterback that's
maybe declining,
maybe better than really anything that we've had in Jerry Jeudy's entire career in Denver. So good for Jeudy. They already paid him. He already got the money. He doesn't have to go out there and prove anything to get the money. And the other thing that was kind of surprising is they didn't need to extend him. Like, it's not like he was going to be a free agent. So he was still under contract. So we'll see.
Sound familiar there, Brandon?
Does what sound familiar? What?
Extending a player before.
Oh God, no! I don't even want to talk about that. That's a repressed memory. Yeah, no, that's a repressed memory. Because you know what? Let's just I'm going to say this. We learned the hard way. Like, if you learned anything from Denver for the past 8 years, it's don't do what the Broncos do. And they just did what the Broncos did. So whatever you get, pay no attention to my background. Then good for Jerry Jeudy, and we'll see what happens for Cleveland because I don't know. But what are your thoughts about it?
I think you kind of nailed it on the head with it. I think that, like, if anything, congratulations to Jerry Jeudy.
Seriously, that's the takeaway. Good for Jerry Jeudy.
Congratulations to Jerry Jeudy. I really think that if you are looking at it from the standpoint of also the Cleveland Browns, they clearly value him. I mean, they already value him.
They clearly like him. Yeah,
they clearly like him. They clearly liked him enough to trade a near, top 100 pick for him, right? They were, they at least traded that, and they traded another pick, and both of those picks are in the top of the 5th round. So they clearly, felt worthy enough to give those selections. I think it's funny that when you look at the Amari Cooper trade with the Cleveland Browns and the Jerry Jeudy trade, both of which were from Alabama, they were acquired via a 5th round draft pick. And I think that as far as just Jerry Jeudy's perspective, I love the idea to pair him with Amari Cooper, who it seems like Jerry Jeudy has tried to emulate since coming into the NFL. But from the Browns, strictly the Browns perspective, you hit it on the head in that if the Broncos taught teams moving forward what not to do, it is to extend a player before the snap.
Before you see them play a single down before they even play a single down. I think that, like, the fact that it was that, and I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, as I'm saying this, good for Jerry, in earning his bag.
but it's a bit wild to me to see Judy. I mean, Brandon, I've been a big supporter of Judy, but to see him get borderline and close to 20 million a year was actually quite surprising.
Did you see? I don't know who did this. Someone basically said what I just recapped, but in a very a much less polite way, where they basically said that the Browns just paid, like, I think they had some total number between like the Deshaun Watson contract and the Judy contract. They had some number that was like the total of those two combined, and said like that they paid that much money for a quarterback that's had, was it 12 touchdowns the past 2 years or 24 touchdowns the past 2 years? So it was one of those numbers. It was divisible by 12. Some obscenely low number for what they're paying him in 2 years. Throwing to a wide receiver that hasn't had a 1,000-yard season. Someone like put that out there, and then Jerry Jeudy, like, he didn't actually quote it or anything, or he didn't comment on it, but he like had a subtle like clap back of talking about like how close he was. Like, I got 967 or something, but I missed like 3 games or something. He's like made a random post about it. I don't remember who it was, but someone put that out there, and Cleveland, you're going to learn that Jerry Jeudy is not silent on social media, but he is vague. He'll say stuff you don't really know exactly what he's talking about, and sometimes you can interpret it and you can have a guess of what he's referring to, but you're going to find out that he is. He's not like a drama person, but he's going to say what he thinks on social media. So if you don't want a player that's going to call people out, well, get used to it.
All right. You guys ready? Anybody that's in the chat? Looks like we have a few people in the chat. Looks like Daniel Padilla is in the chat. Bronco Danny is in the chat. I believe that's Ja Run It is in the chat. Also, Balbani is in the chat. Bone Nix for 6 is Balbani's comment there. Maybe that's a nice little tease for him about maybe where he wants the Broncos to go, either a pick 12 or their first overall selection. Muhammad is in the building. What's up, my man? Looks like Graham tweeted this out, and maybe we actually go this route. But he said, "But I'll put it, which non-quarterback?" And let's just answer this now. Which non-quarterback would you be happy? Oh, unhappy with the Broncos drafting
in round 1.
Let me start by let me have you some time to process this one. I will say the one position group, and Mike, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but the one position group that will actually send me, off the edge, if you will, will be a corner. Mile High Prophet, what's up, Mile High Prophet? How you doing, man? Good to see you in the house. I say a cornerback, like Brandon, because like I'm under the impression that they are wanting to develop and have Riley. We've said this numerous times. Have develop Riley Moss as their cornerback too. I mean, it just solely depends on the prospect and how they evaluate things in their BPA, and is a corner the best player available, for them, and the best talent that they have available. That's their.
Take Cooper DeJean at 12.
I mean, I don't know if I would take Cooper DeJean, because I think he's a very, very talented player. He's better than Riley Moss, but I think that we also forget a little bit about how good Riley Moss was before Cooper DeJean, and he was basically Cooper DeJean before, Cooper DeJean was Iowa. My thing is, the moment you draft him, you are stunting the growth of Moss as your cornerback too. And not only that, you are admitting fault that you traded up for a player like that in last year's 2023 draft. So,
well, let me play devil's advocate slightly. Although I think I agree with you. Like, I don't know if there's anyone other than like a meme pick of someone that is supposed to go in like round 4 and you take him at 12.
We're not the Raiders.
That's funny. I think I'd agree. Like, I don't know if I'd really want a corner. I wouldn't hate it, but I definitely wouldn't like it. But just to play slight devil's advocate. Well, let me back up. I'm going to play devil's advocate, and then I'm going to answer your question with a specific player. Devil's advocate of what you just said is, I mean, yes, we traded up for him, but he's still a 3rd round pick. Like, there's a reason he fell to 3. He's a very talented athlete, but there are players in this class that you can say are just a better prospect at corner coming into the NFL. Like Terrion Arnold, I'm not a huge fan of his. Byron Murphy, who's like just a stud for Texas. Like, there's people that you can get that Quinion Mitchell, that you can plug in next to PS2, and you're going to have just an absolute force between really just on your back. In the secondary, I mean, safety, I know is kind of like you don't really know, but you're going to have a stud corners that are going to be able to lock down the AFC West for the next 8 years. Like,
we think.
I wouldn't hate it. I mean, I know you're going to have to. Here's the thing: you're going to have to pay. You have to pay PS2 pretty soon. You don't want to have someone that's still on a 5-year rookie contract next to him. That's great. Like, I like. Go ahead. Were you saying something?
I was going to say, but why do you hate it though? I mean, because like when you kind of
no, I didn't say I hate it. I said I wouldn't love it, but I wouldn't like it. Or I wouldn't hate it, but I also wouldn't like it. Like, it's just kind of indifferent to me. I would be okay with the position, but it wouldn't excite me. Like, I might have not explained this well. I wouldn't hate it, and I wouldn't love it. It would just kind of just be okay, cool.
So is cornerback
again? I don't want it, but that's what would like that would be my reaction if we took a corner at 12. I don't think we're going to take a corner at 12. But I mean, Riley Moss, you say that we're stunning his development as a cornerback 2. He's not even really cornerback 2. Like, he is kind of by process of elimination, but he hasn't proven himself as cornerback 2. He's done almost nothing.
Oh, for sure.
So he's kind of just an unknown.
But it's also based on how the Broncos have operated, the off season. They've talked about it glowingly at the combine.
Well, yeah, of course they're going to talk about glowingly. What are they going to say? He sucks?
Well, but I mean,
Coach
I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying. And like, maybe they do really believe in him. Maybe he's going to be fantastic. All I know is, yes, we traded up for him, but he was still a later round draft pick. And if you can get an elite corner in the first round that's on a rookie deal and you're going to have to pay PS2, like, you can't have too many corners. If you have PS2 and another elite corner, and then you have Riley Moss as a developmental 3rd guy who can maybe be some depth for you. Maybe you have like some 6 DBs back there. Maybe you have, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can kind of play this. Riley Moss is so physical. Maybe you have him being kind of like your roamer. Maybe he like plays a bit of safety. I mean, I think it's kind of nuts, but this is just me playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying I want a quarterback. The one person to me that like I wouldn't want us to pick at 12, that like I would say unhappy, would be a guy that seems to be very popular and kind of rising up draft boards a lot, which is Amarius Mims. I think he's good. Like, I'm not saying everything against him. I don't think he's a bad player, but I just think he's so young and he's so new. There isn't enough sample size to know. Like, if you tell me that your options are Amarius Mims or Olu Fashanu because he falls for some reason, because he's having a just ridiculous slide where maybe someone caught him as on a video with a mask on, that's all I'm going to say, which ironically, it was like the latest mock draft had him going to the Dolphins, which is kind of funny. Like, if it's Amarius Mims or him, I'm taking Fashanu. If it's Amarius Mims or
a wide receiver,
Joe Alt, like, I mean, he's not going to fall that far. If it's Amarius Mims, I'm talking just like corner or tackles. If it's Mims or Fuaga, give me Fuaga every day of the week. Like, I just don't. I wouldn't like Amarius Mims. And I think it's another player. I'm not saying he can't be a good tackle, but I just think he's too much of a risk because there's so little. He's so young and new.
I think the thing for me,
he's 21, which I mean is good. But go ahead.
I think the thing for me is that there are just far more offensive prospects for you to take.
Oh, you'd just rather go offense in general. Okay.
I would just simply rather go offense in general.
Sure.
Meaning,
is there an offensive player that you are like, you maybe would think would be a reach or you wouldn't like at 12?
Not necessarily. I mean, obviously,
we could take Brian Thomas Jr. at 12. I wouldn't hate it.
I don't even think that that's a reach. In fact, I think that given everything that's happened with Jerry Jeudy and after we had the conversation, do I think that it's a very likely choice at 12? No, absolutely not. But I do think that as we stand right now on March 20th, that wide receiver at 12 is a far more likely scenario given with where we are with Jerry Jeudy gone. But do I think it happens? No.
No, I was gonna say, I think you're right. I think it's more likely, but I also don't. As much as I don't think we're gonna take a corner, I also don't think we're gonna take a wide receiver.
I don't either. But I mean, like, crazier things have happened. For instance, let me just throw out the hypothetical of, because every once in a while in the draft,
MHJ falls to 12, sprint to the podium.
Yeah, but every once in a while, hypotheticals run in, and we'll get started on our draft here eventually. But let's just say that there are tough decisions, like maybe not Brock Bowers, Brandon, but let's just say there's Roma Dunze and your quarterback at 12.
You said and your quarterback, like just the quarterback that you like,
for instance, and kudos to the DNVR Broncos who came up with this hypothetical, but Roma Dunze and Bo Nix at 12, meaning the quarterback you want to take, and Roma Dunze.
Gloves coming off. I'm going to answer this in two ways. I'm going to answer this in a hypothetical, and I'm going to answer this in what I personally believe about the team that I cannot corroborate or verify, and this is just my gut telling me, and I could be horribly wrong. The first answer is if that is actually who Sean Payton likes, I'm not even going to say Bo Nix. If the quarterback or a quarterback that Sean Payton likes and thinks fits in his system well, that's who they take. Okay. That's the only answer that's possible. I don't think that Bo Nix is that person. And yes, I have him in my background, and that was more as a meme because I've seen like Bo Nix everywhere connected to us. And the whole like Bo Nix is Drew Brees, like comparisons are fun, but come on. Yeah. That's a bit. But yeah, it's just like looking for content. I just don't think Bo Nix is that person. Maybe Sean does like him. It's possible. I see why he'd like him. He kind of fits into what he's looking for. But if we're gonna take a corner at 12 or a quarterback at 12 and it's Bo Nix, like if you're looking for someone, he takes Bo Nix maybe just because he thinks Bo Nix fits in the system. If that's the one criterion for the quarterback that we take, maybe he likes Bo Nix, but I think JJ McCarthy also fits the system perfectly. Maybe he loves JJ McCarthy. I think we're more likely to sell out and trade up to go for JJ McCarthy. I don't even know if we can, but I think that's more likely than us taking Bo Nix. Would it again? Could it happen? Could I be wrong? 100%. Not saying Bo Nix is bad. I'm not saying Bo Nix doesn't fit in what Sean Payton likes to do, and he kind of is a Sean Payton quarterback. I just don't think that they would want to take him at 12, but I could be wrong.
The Roma Dunze and Bo Nix thing, it's the exact same conversation of Brock Bowers and Bo Nix. But here's the thing:
Brock Bowers, no matter what,
if you take Bo Nix at 12, you very obviously more than just like him at quarterback, right? You more than just like him at quarterback, and I think that's the thing.
If you only like Bo Nix and you take him at 12, you messed up. Like I'm not taking Bo Nix at 12 unless I love him. But if you're asking me Bo Nix or Brock Bowers, it's not even close. Brock Bowers, not even remotely close.
He's the top 5 player in this draft.
Yeah, he's not only tight end 1. He's like elite. He's like he's the blue chip prospect in this draft at tight end, which is rare. So anyway,
you want to roll with it? You want to see what we can do with this draft here?
I want Bo Nix. I want Brock Bowers. I'm looking at the picture of Bo Nix in my background, and I'm reading Brock Bowers, and I said Bo Nix. I want Brock Bowers.
Yeah, you're kind of contradicting yourself now because of the fact that you have a Brock Bowers no matter what, and then you have a Bo Nix picture behind.
So here, let me explain this. This was the only way I could set up the picture so that you could see what it said on the sticky note. Because if I made the whole sticky note my background, I cover it up and you can't read it.
Yeah. All right. Let's get started on this draft. And before we dive into any of this, Brandon, you and I were talking beforehand. We probably won't change. The last time we did this, we should probably preface it this way. The last time we did this with Carter of Let's Talk Broncos, we tweaked it just a little bit. Meaning we brought the randomness up just a little bit, and the draft for needs up for just a little bit. I'm kind of leaning on the sense that maybe we don't touch it, and we just maybe let's let it ride.
If anything, first of all, because you said let it ride, you got to lower it down by one notch. I want this to be as realistic as possible, which means I want the least amount of randomness as we can. And yeah, there's a lot of randomness in the first round of a draft.
And do you want in general, to all the way down? Do you want
there's a limit? No, just go down one. Like, can you go down one section? Like, what does that let you do? It just goes down the whole way. Okay. You know what? I don't care. Leave it. Do whatever you want. Okay. I just want this to be realistic. And if we're sitting there at 12 and Jaden Daniels is there, I'm like, no, that's just not going to happen. But we'll see what happens. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. We will actually let's bump it down. We did notice.
Oh
that.
Yeah, no turbo. That's too fast. No turbo.
We'll move it down to the middle. And we'll get a chance to see.
Also, you lied. You're using PFF, not PFN.
I said if there's a bonus one, we will use PFN.
Oh, fine. That's okay.
All right, you guys. We are going to be clicking the start draft right now.
That's still. I think you should still slow it down. That's still so fast. All right, yeah, let's go back up. Damn it.
So just by reading this alone,
this is why you got to move randomness down. But anyway, actually, this isn't crazy. Go back up for a second.
Aside for the simple fact that Jaden Daniels,
okay, obviously, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Marvin Harrison, Jaden Daniels, God. But the one thing that I saw that I think is sort of a hot pick, but I actually wouldn't be surprised is Malik Neighbors going super high. He's so good. He's actually insane.
I think the conversation of the white, if they don't move, the conversation of Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison with the Chargers, nightmare scenario. But Malik Neighbors
from Odunze, Chargers is still pretty bad. But.
Yeah, but I think the conversation is Neighbors and Harrison there with the Cardinals and the if they don't move.
If the Chargers got Malik Neighbors, I would literally lose my mind. That's
okay.
Horrible. And they they're picking wide receiver 5. Don't kid yourself. That's their pick at 5, or the trading back.
Right.
Because who is he going to throw to?
Now we go to quarterback.
So scroll down a bit further on the who was picked, just so we can see. Okay.
So Brock is gone.
We can Newton at 10. Okay.
Newton at 10.
And Quinton Mitchell. Wow.
So we should preface this way. The quarterbacks that the Denver Broncos want are just simply on the table. However, we are operating on the idea of what they think is going to happen.
Go to the we can't see. It's still the drop down. Yeah, click quarterback. Okay. So just right off the bat, yes, Jaden Daniels and JJ McCarthy are there. I'm going to ignore that because there's absolutely no way that either of those players is there at 12. So that's literally not possible. The thing that sucks about this, and this is why I was hoping that we could make it more realistic, is they're not going to be there, but I think there's a higher likelihood that Brock Bowers would probably be there. So I think the player that would likely be there was already picked, and the players that are not going to be there are still available. Right. But ignore that entirely. Obviously, Bo Nix and Michael Penix are there, but I'm not saying don't take Bo Nix. I'm not saying this, but just go to all players.
Okay. Also, for what it's worth, if we do the consider trade down option, Do you see how many trade offers we have at our disposal right now?
24. Yeah, that's
24 trade
that's
candidates.
that's the other thing that we disagreed on, chat, is I just don't think there's going to be a ton of options for us to trade down. Like, I think it's going to be difficult for us to find a trade down partner. In this case, I mean, it makes sense because Jaden Daniels and JJ McCarthy are somehow there, which is not possible. And so, yeah, we're like, people are going to want to trade up for those players, but I don't really see someone being there at 12 that there's going to be a mad dash for someone to trade up for. At least, like, I'm not saying we can't get any. I'm saying, like, I don't know if we can get one that I would consider a worthy trade value, but
okay. So we have Waka, Tommy, Wiggins, Arnold, Verse,
keep going down.
Latu,
oh my God,
Graham Barton,
yeah,
Mims, Brian Thomas.
Who would you take? Give me your who would you take, and then give me your spicy take. Like, if you were going to pick someone as like a,
if I was going to stay put, you mean
out of left field, you stay put at 12.
If it's not Bo Nix, if it is not Bo Nix, and I'm staying put because I think the Bo Nix stuff there is far more smoke. With Nix, I would strongly. Yeah, there is.
Sure. Okay.
I think that I'm under the impression that if the Broncos don't go to the quarterback route and actually take the quarterback they love at 12, you probably are leaning toward maybe a tackle. And I think that here's a case where maybe you're letting the board fall to you. And if you take Fatanu and you take or you take Fuaga, right? Or maybe even Fashanu, you take one of those three, you are instantly basically, controlling the lines, the phone lines, to trade Garrett Bowles for something. That's basically what I'm under the impression of.
So that's what I was going to say is in this position, if we're not trading down, there's two things that, what's this more PFF nonsense? Thank you, Carter. I called him out for it. He said he was going to do PFN, and I called him out. He's like, "Oh, it's only if we do a second mock draft, whatever." Here's the thing. I would take Fuaga because I think Fuaga is. I'm not saying he's a better player than Fashanu. I think Fuaga is more of you can plug him in, and he is your starting tackle week one.
I would say the same thing about Fatanu or Fuaga, maybe even Fashanu.
Well, I'm not saying Fatanu and Fashanu, wow, that those are weirdly similar, aren't, like, actually, this is so funny. Scroll down for a second.
On the
right. Who was below that? Networks. Okay, never mind. Sorry, I just wanted to check something. I think it depends on what you want to do. If you're like, okay, Garrett Bowles, we have trade offers on the table, or people are like at least someone interested in Garrett Bowles, or we're going to cut him. I would personally take Fuaga because I think he's more of you can plug him in and start him, and he's going to be a fantastic tackle for you week one. I'm not saying you can't do that with someone like Fashanu, and I think Fashanu is still a fantastic tackle. I just think Fuaga is even more of you plug him, like you put him in there and you just forget about it. Like you can literally just set him in there and forget about it. You can do it with Fashanu as well. Like I'm not saying you can't. I think Fashanu, like you could do this and not bat an eye. I would, if it's a situation more where it's like, no, Fashanu's there, Carter, where it's like, I maybe want to keep Garrett Bowles for another year. This is Garrett Bowles' last year, and I want to pick his replacement and maybe even let that guy sit for a little bit. I'm sprinting Fashanu's name up to the podium because I think Fashanu could easily be, out of this great tackle class, the best tackle in this class. The only reason I'd say I would go that direction if like we're keeping Garrett Bowles for a year. Like I think Fashanu is an incredible player, and he's like super athletic. He's really, really young, but I think he just could probably benefit from getting a bit more mass and size and strength, primarily strength, because he is
So
he's like 21. Yeah, he's 21. So I think he's the perfect sit him for a year, and you can keep Garrett Bowles for a year if you don't want to cut him and take the cap hit, or there's no trade partner. Then I would maybe take Fashanu. If I'm I'm just going to get rid of Garrett Bowles and I need someone I can put in right now, I'd probably take Fuaga.
Let's preface.
We didn't make any trades.
Let's preface this in the in it this way, because we're under the impression of what we think they will do. I will say, if it's a scenario like this, with obviously Jaden Daniels off the board and JJ McCarthy off the board, because that's one I do think they would trade down. I very much, the amount of trades that they do have at their disposal, I think they would trade down. And I think that they would at least try and trade down 8 spots, maybe 8 to 10 spots, maybe, and see if they can acquire more capital, and then you can, maybe take your quarterback and, possibly even, another tackle. So that's kind of what I would personally do. Maybe here is I would, accumulate the capital, and then and then go from there. That's just kind of what I would do.
All right, let's look at the trades.
So the teams that are interested: the Saints, the Colts, the Seahawks, the Jaguars, the Bengals, the Rams, the Miami Dolphins, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Minnesota Vikings, the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Basically everybody from pick 14 to the end of the draft is interested in moving up.
I can't actually see that list. I just see the Saints, but here's the thing. I mean, I guess you can trade. The Saints want to move up 2 picks, really?
Well, I'm looking at it more from the standpoint of the Dolphins to the.
I think that's funny. Can you see that? I can't see the drop down. I only see Saints. I don't know why. Can you click on it again?
So I'm already clicking on it. You must not see that. So
I can't see it.
Yeah. So the list of teams is the Saints, the Colts, the Seahawks, the Jags, the Bengals, the Rams, Dolphins, Eagles, Vikings, Cowboys, Packers, Bucks, Cardinals, Lions, Ravens, San Francisco, and the Chiefs. We're obviously not trading with the Chiefs. So it's basically 49ers and on. Carolina from the second round is interested at 33. Patriots from 34 interested. Commanders from 36 is interested. Los Angeles Chargers at 37 is interested. And the Tennessee Titans is interested. Along with the Bears at 75, Falcons at 43, and Titans at 38.
Yeah. Okay. So here's...
I'm trading down.
Who are the second and third teams?
Meaning,
like in order of the trades, like in terms of highest picks.
Colts and Seahawks.
Really?
Okay. Like for me, I'm looking more from the standpoint of from the Philadelphia Eagles down.
Yeah, the only reason that I would say that the Saints are interesting is because I could see them going after a tackle, and especially if someone like Olu, with the tackles that are available here, I just think they could go after a franchise-defining tackle in their minor quote-unquote rebuild, and you can kind of move down 2 picks, get a pick in return, and probably still take one of the tackles that would be available. But if we're looking at what were we saying?
I was going to say you could even say that for the Cardinals, because I think the Cardinals also need a left tackle.
You could say that for the Cardinals. I don't know what the hell the Cardinals are doing. Where do they pick again?
27.
27? I don't want to go down that far. Do you? Sure. If you're trading down here, are you going after Bo Nix? Is that who you're trying to get when you trade down?
Yeah, exactly. That is.
I'd be okay with taking him at 27. Here's the thing. I don't know if he'd get to 27. He's that type of prospect where you go to the later rounds or the later picks in the first round, and it's is that where I would be more comfortable taking him? Absolutely. Is that where he's
I feel like he's
probably more likely to go and might not even be available? I think so.
I think he's in the range of 25 to 40.
I guess, yeah.
Like that the objective, like not looking at taking a pick 12.
Who's the next highest after the Cardinals? In terms of like higher draft position, the Lions. Okay. All right, take the Cardinals trade and see what happens.
Well, so now when I say take the trade, we got to orchestrate it a little bit. So we would.
Oh yeah, no, I mean like pick the team. So from here, I think
I wouldn't necessarily give them 76, but obviously I would obviously offer 12. You would take
obviously 27. I wouldn't give them more than 12.
Can we just talk about how the fact that this is going to deplete their draft capital to an extent?
I think you probably throw 90 or 104 in there still.
What about 71? Nope.
I think that's going to be. I think it's going to be a bit. They're not going to take that. 90 you could maybe do. You still get you get 3 top 100 picks out of it.
It's about 50.
To me, that's more fair than I would love 66 or 71 with that. I just don't think they would give you.
The unfortunate thing
those
here
picks.
Is, like, if they're moving up that far, I would want a first, and they're not going to take that.
Well, yeah, but if we're doing this in the span of we're only doing one draft, we're not going to use the first round pick 2025. Would I love that? Sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
would I take 27, 35 in next year's first? Also, absolutely. But in this draft, if I can get 3 top 100 picks for this, I would be okay with it.
Right. Let's offer.
So I'm okay with this. What does chat think?
Yeah. What does the chat think? Looks like. Maybe see if we could also trade Bulls to maybe it's the third.
Use Bulls. Well, here's the thing. I'm not trading Bulls unless I have his replacement.
Okay.
And we're trading down. We're not. I mean, we'll see what tackles are there, but
we could either
let's revisit this idea when we're in the third round.
Okay. Let's roll with this. It has a 54% chance of being accepted. Let's offer it. It was not accepted. Trade not accepted. We could be jerks about it and force the trade.
Hold on. Let's do this right. All right.
the other idea.
I'm gonna put the trade value chart. So I don't know why you're laughing at that. Come on. So according to the Fitzgerald Spielberger model, which there's several models, but pick 12 has a value of 1,471 points. And if we're taking 27, 35, and 90, 27 is 1,330. 35 is 1,198. Wow. Really? Yeah, actually, I see why that was denied. 720. Yeah, that's actually insane. That's almost like double the pick value.
I'll tell you what. As far as the team I know would take offensive linemen, given everything that's transpired, would be the Green Bay Packers.
Let me ask you this question. Would you take that projected? I mean, I didn't realize the point differential value was so insane. Would you take that exact trade and give them Bulls and pick 12? I wouldn't, because again, I'm not trading Bulls unless someone's on the team that's going to replace him.
You would probably take your guy either in the second or first round, the back half of the second half of the first round. So, but the Green Bay Packers are a team that are clearly going to be wanting an offensive lineman. So we can go with that. We'll do 12, 41. Okay, so they don't want 58.
25, 41. Well, yeah, they're not going to. Let's look at the value here. So 25 and 41, we're at I mean, that's already a 600-point swing in our favor with those two picks by itself, 25 and 41. So, I mean, if you want to toss in 91,
which I did,
well, I mean, I don't know. I think they'll take it, but you can try.
They did.
All right.
So we have traded back.
It's pretty similar. It's a bit just higher in the first round and lower in the other rounds, but similar.
So we have traded back, and now we will resume.
Who are they taking? It was so fast I couldn't see. We should slow it down. That's too fast. It's too late now.
They went and took Fuaga. So it's exactly.
Okay. See, that's what I'm saying.
But that's exactly what we anticipated.
Okay, this is actually insane. Where's Fashanu?
He went to the Raiders.
They went to the Bengals.
Fashanu. Yeah.
Fashanu. Yo, that's a steal for the Bengals. Holy shit. Dude, someone has a video of him in a gas mask bong. This mock is invalid if the Vikings didn't get a keep. That's not untrue. All right, who's available?
Okay.
Go to scroll down.
At pick 25, the top picks are Graham Barton, Tyler Newman, Peyton Watson, Brian Thomas.
Peyton Nelson. Brian Thomas. Tyler Guyton's actually kind of
Adonai Mitchell.
Adonai Mitchell. Say his name right.
Sorry, A.D. Mitchell.
Shut up. Would it be insane if I kind of want Brian Thomas here? All right.
You could probably work it to where maybe you might look into getting Brian Thomas and Bo Nix at 41.
Here's the thing. If I'm taking Bo Nix and I know I like Bo Nix, and if he's there at 41, he's my auto pick, I'd rather take him at 27 and get the 5th-year option.
Okay.
But I want Brian Thomas. I mean, I don't want Bo Nix that much. I'm just saying, if I'm the GM and I want Bo Nix, he is my targeted quarterback, I want to take, and if I'm okay with taking him in the first round and I have a grade on him that I would be comfortable taking him in the first round, I would do whatever I can. I don't care if it's pick 32, which is not going to happen because it's the Chiefs pick, but I'm doing whatever I can to pick him in the first round because I get that 5th-year option, and that every single year that passes, quarterbacks make more and more and more and more and more money. And the longer I can keep him on that rookie deal, the better.
I agree with you, and I think that, and I've been saying this before. If there is a draft class that is a larger chance where you trade down and take the quarterback you still love, it's this class. The unfortunate
JJ McCarthy went at pick 23. I'm going to scream, but
the other thing about that is, if you love the quarterback enough, and this goes back to the conversation we had before, if you love the quarterback enough, you take him at 12. You don't mess around there.
Yeah, if we like Bo Nix enough to trade down and take him at 25, and we don't want to take him at 12, I'm questioning that. So, yeah, I mean, it's a moot point. I wouldn't take him, but in this example, if you want to take him, go for it.
Let's take Bo, and then we'll figure out what to go from there with pick 41. So we will go with Bo. Brian Thomas went to the Cardinals.
See?
Oh, my word. Are we going
to... Before we put in this next pick, slow it down.
Adonai Mitchell to the 49ers.
That's a good pick. Ladd McConkey to the fucking Chiefs? Nope. Don't like that.
Okay, I'm guessing we would go wide receiver here.
Who else is available? Troy Franklin, Chop Robinson.
Darius Robinson.
That's interesting. I'm between Troy Franklin and Chop Robinson.
That's kind of where I am too. Given how deep...
Here's the thing. We just took Bo Nix. If we're taking Bo Nix in the first round and we're not getting him Troy Franklin, we shouldn't take Bo Nix in the first round.
Fair.
What were you going to say?
Fair. No, I think it's fair. I mean, when you look at the fact that one of the best things for a quarterback coming in and the chemistry, I love the idea for something like that. So I like the idea with going.
Show me all the wide receivers. Just just out of curiosity.
Okay. It is really a deep class. Roman Wilson.
I know. Roman Wilson's good too.
Keon Coleman.
Wow.
Leggett.
Jalen Polk, my fave, my boy, my bro.
Javon Baker.
Javon Baker is, oh my God. See, that's the thing. Javon Baker is also the guy. It's funny that he's ranked 76th ranked player because I would literally take him at 76.
He's been
like
right.
If he was there, 100% I'd take him. Here's the thing. Again, okay. Let's talk this out for a second. Go to tackle.
Okay.
Because at this point, my top priorities are tackle, wide receiver, and edge. I don't love any of these guys.
Or D-line. Maybe not
D-line, maybe. Yeah.
So D-line.
Who's available on the line? Okay. O is pretty good. Tavondre Sweat. I think this is a bit high. I mean, you could take him. I just think it's a bit early.
So I feel like we're still back to the edge and wide receiver now.
Here's the thing. There's so many. If I'm the general manager, I'm torn because there's so many good wide receivers I could get later. I could get Baker at pick 76, and I could get Chop Robinson here, who's a good edge prospect, and we need edge players.
I think that if we're going strictly off positional value, I love the idea to go Chop Robinson here, and then if you can, and you luck out by getting Javon Baker. I mean, because the other thing too is in your wide receiver thing here. I mean,
there's so many. Good, like Johnny Wilson is Amari Thrash is a monster. Malachi Corley, Brendan Wright. Like, there's so many. Here's the thing. This is why I would be torn if I was this general manager, because there's so many good wide receivers. But I just took the quarterback from Oregon in the first round, and I clearly believe in him. And if I'm not gonna be willing to give him a fantastic prospect in Troy Franklin at a position that I need. That's a guy he already has chemistry with and he played with at Oregon. Like that's why I'm so torn on. But I'm with you. The positional value side of me is just take Chop Robinson. There will be, I don't even care if it's not Baker, even though that's what I want. There will be a wide receiver at pick 76 that I like. I'm almost guaranteeing it.
Okay,
I'm torn. What does the chat think?
What does the chat think? We're torn. This may be the rare case where we deviate from what we think the Broncos are going to do.
Here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Well, no. Go ahead. Continue.
I was going to say, like, this is the case where, I think that if it was me, I would be leaning more on the side of taking the positional value, taking a guy like Chop Robinson, and then getting a guy at pick 76 that's your wide receiver. Because especially in this scenario, Garrett Bowles was not taken, and you can probably take a developmental tackle, even later too. Like, and this is such a decent tackle class, you might be able to take a tackle at maybe say pick 91, right? You might even be able to take a tackle at pick 91, or even like a Roger Rosengarten at maybe like a pick 140, or maybe even in the 140s is when you could probably take a Roger Rosengarten.
Chop Robinson, he's just first of all, absolute athletic freak. Dude came in with a 9.5 relative athletic score, and the only thing that dragged him down is his height and weight.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, the way he performed at the combine was actually eerily similar to Penn State. I don't know what they've been growing at Penn State to be getting these consistent just freaks with the name.
He's like one of the quickest players in this draft class, and he's an edge player.
I want to throw this out to you. Because, I mean, we've been talking about Chop Robinson. Daniel Jeremiah was talking about...
Oh, I'm sorry. His updated Ross was 9.79. My bad. Even higher.
I was talking about Darius Robinson. Do you know who he compared him to?
Darius Robinson. I didn't see this.
Cam Jordan.
I mean, again, take what you will from comparisons, but I get the connection.
Like he did it for Theo. Like Theo Johnson was Jimmy Graham. Darius Robinson was Cam Jordan. If those are the ideas and the things that maybe the Broncos could go off of, Darius Robinson would be a guy on the radar, if you will, for me. But Chop Robinson is just way too talented for me to maybe ignore here.
So yeah, there's going to be a wide receiver at our next pick, and probably even the pick after that I'm going to be okay with taking. And the last time that, here's why you bet on athleticism at edge and linebacker. You know, the other freak athlete that someone took high in a draft and turned into an absolute monster of a pass rusher, Micah Parsons.
Mm-hmm. Funny enough,
I'm okay with Chop Robinson from the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Our same school.
Not a lot of comments are rolling in, so let's make an executive decision on this. Let's take Chop. By the way, Chop Robinson also just screams like the ultimate edge rusher name.
Yeah, Chop.
Yeah.
If it isn't blowing up tackles with the chop move, I don't want it.
So, but I mean, I like it too because like when we've been talking about this before, if there is one of the positions that the Broncos have
T'Vondre Sweat went. Are you fucking kidding me? T'Vondre Sweat and Javon Baker went back to back right before us. I'm out. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What? Continue. What are you saying?
So you know what that means?
I hate this.
You know what that means?
Who's available wide receiver?
The Chicago Bears, Brandon, will now have Brock Bowers, Javon Baker, and Caleb Williams.
That's fantastic. That's incredible. I hate this. Who's available at wide receiver? That is so just demoralizing. I mean, okay.
Malachi Corley, Jamari Thrash, Brendan Rice.
Who's available at edge? Just let me show me. I know, but I want to see what would who's available here if we had gone with a wide receiver at the last pick. Just humor me.
Gabriel Murphy, Javon Solomon.
I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. At wide receiver, this is just personal preference. When I'm in this pick, I just want the guy that I like, and I don't care if technically Johnny Wilson is ranked higher. I want Malachi Corley. Malachi Corley is the guy that I want out of this draft.
And if you're talking about schematic fit, though, like Corley fits exactly with what maybe you had with Judy, maybe even a little bit more. He's actually bigger. He's versatile, and I mean, there's a reason why people have called him a Deebo Samuel type in this draft. You can use him in a lot of different ways. You can use him in a lot of different packages. So
Javon Baker going right before us is going to haunt my nightmares. But anyway. Basically,
I hate to bring Bronco fans PTSD on this one. Malachi Corley is the prospect. I'm using the key word there. The prospect of what Carlos Henderson should have been when the Broncos had drafted him.
Here's the only thing that just gives me slight pause here, and I'm okay with taking Malachi Corley. I just think if you take a guy with Malachi Corley's skill set, do you have two Cortland Suttons? Do you just trade Cortland Sutton at that point?
I don't think so. I
don't think you do, but I just think the skill set is similar. I'm not saying they're the same player, but I agree with you. I like Corley enough. I'm going to take him. This is my pick here as I take Malachi Corley. But I do think that
I was just going to say, I don't even think they're the same player, Brandon.
I don't think they're the same player, but I think they're similar.
But what are you trying to say there when you say that they're similar versus they're not the same player? What are you trying?
Their game is similar. So that's the thing that I like about Malachi Corley and I like about Cortland Sutton is they both are guys that you can get the ball to in space or on short intermediate routes, and then they can just run guys over and get yards after the catch. They're both great at that. You can throw it up to them and trust that they're going to come down to the ball and they're going to get the 50-50 ball. Malachi Corley doesn't Moss people. I say Ross. Moss people as much as I'm trying to say two different things at once. Doesn't Moss people as much as like Cortland Sutton does, but he still does it. Like he can go up and get the ball, and you can trust that he's going to come down with it in just ridiculous coverage scenarios where like you look at it and you're like, there's absolutely no way that this guy caught this ball, and he does. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're the same player. I mean, those aren't even skill sets that like you can say are like bad to have two of. I'm just saying, like, I think that they are.
It's more about his physical traits. It's kind of what you're going on.
I mean, like you're going to have two absolute bruisers, and if you have I think it's helpful for Bo Nix. You have two guys that you could throw him the ball, and it could be a bad placement. They're going to come down with it anyway. You have two guys that you can hit him on just a 5-yard route to the hash, and then they're just going to break a tackle and like run 30 yards up the field. I'm okay with it. I mean, I would want it toward Javon Baker, but I'm pissed.
I'm with you. I'll go Corley here. I see someone in the chat mentioned about Brendan Rice. I love the idea.
I like Brendan Rice too.
But the thing is like I feel like, and I'm not saying the Broncos would even consider this because I mean they did bring Tim Patrick back on a smaller deal. Brendan Rice was the player people were comparing possibly for Broncos country and mock drafts as a replacement for Tim Patrick because it feels like almost the eerily similar player. And just a fun little thing about Johnny Wilson, it depends on where you're projecting Johnny Wilson. A lot of people have been, we talked about this with Joey when he was on and he was out in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. Wilson is a player that, is he a tight end? Is he a wide receiver? Right? And maybe to a certain extent that favors the Broncos and maybe that versatility. But I think if you want to build the best possible, thing for you, a guy like Corley with that Billmore. Plus, I think unlike Sutton and those physical traits, he has those physical traits and can be used underneath and used in space really, really well. So I love the idea of Corley.
The other reason I'm okay with Corley here, and yes, I know I just kind of also said that he's similar to Cortland Sutton. If we didn't have Marvin Mims, I would be a bit more hesitant because I think we still need, we would need pretty desperately that speed guy, but I'm banking on Mims taking another step. And I think, he was great as a rookie. He just didn't get enough snaps and enough targets. So I think he's going to be great next year. And I think this gives Bo Nix a good wide receiver room that he can make plays with.
Okay. So we did go early.
So,
we're at pick 91.
Michael Pratt went to LA.
By the way, I'm not trying to dog on the pick. I don't like the Blake Corum pick to Cleveland. They drafted.
You mean to the Bengals?
To the Bengals. Who was the running back to Chase Brown? They drafted Chase Brown from Illinois. Chase Brown is almost the exact type of back that Blake Corum is. So I'm just not sure I like the fit of Blake Corum there with the Bengals.
They also signed Zach Moss. So
yeah,
that makes no sense to me.
What position are you maybe leaning toward
tackle.
Here? Tackle?
Who's available tackle?
Patrick Paul, Dominic Puny. And if you were to select it, he is just a sole left tackle. He's played all the snaps at left tackle from 2021 to 2023. He was graded at 81 in 2023, his best of the season. He only allowed one sack.
I don't really care about the grades, but the advanced statistics are interesting. Who else is available? Sorry, at tackle.
Dominic Puny. Or Pooney. I just like saying Puny because I think it's very fitting for a tackle. Matt Goncalves from Pittsburgh.
I like Matt better than Patrick Paul, to be honest, but that might just
Christian Jones. There's Roger. Javon Foster.
Rosengarten. Interesting.
Shout out Carter. Javon Foster was the guy that he had been wanting. Roger Rosengarten. The fascinating thing to me with Isaiah Adams is if you are developing the Alex Pacheski, I don't know. I like the idea of having Isaiah Adams and Pacheski if that's your duo for left and right tackle.
I mean, I'm okay with I want to come out of this draft with multiple tackles. I think some of these guys are going to be there a bit later. Like, this is one of the best tackle classes in recent memory.
I'm saying the same thing about wide receiver too.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'd be okay with Patrick Paul. I kind of like Matt Conclave's better, but I think it's just because he has a bit more positional versatility. I think he also played center for them, but I'm okay with Patrick Paul.
Yeah. And what is it?
I wanted Jordan Morgan. If Jordan Morgan somehow was here, which there's no way, but I would literally sprint to the podium.
100%. Because you're talking about a pure Bulls replacement, like a pure athletic, the frame, a pure Bulls replacement at that point. So let's go with Paul. Let's go with Patrick Paul. Mr. Two first names, no relation to Ricky Bobby. And now we will be picking at pick 121. What direction? Anybody that's in the chat, what direction do you want to go with now here? Because now this is if we're going to go off of maybe what the Broncos could do, this is where I'm either looking at either defensive line, and I hate to bring it up, but running back, because of the fact that Sean Payton and George Payton, especially, they love running backs, Brandon. That's kind of the thing that I'm wondering is, like, do they come away with a running back in this class and maybe draft him?
Probably.
And draft him in round 4 or 5.
Does it have to be 4 or 5?
I don't know, but I know that, like, the Broncos, especially, and Sean have prioritized the running back position. As far as the defensive line, though, like maybe going back to the defensive line, they're looking at Leonard Taylor, McKinley, Jackson, Christian Boyd, and by the way, and of course, Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo, 2 players that are notably attached to the Denver Broncos because of new defensive line coach Shamar Cain, and I think it was Mason Smith or Jordan Jefferson, I can't remember, but both are heavily recruited, if not one or the other, by Cain at LSU.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, show me the corners.
Admittedly, as much as I was talking about corner earlier, this is around that point in time too where I would also consider corner.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering. There's some guys. I
really like Kalen Carson. He's a physical corner.
I don't love any of these guys, but yeah, go ahead.
He's a physical corner. Let's go to safety maybe for certain.
There's one guy that we looked at already that we know is available that I'd be okay with that we'll come back to.
Ben Sinnott, if you wanted to go tight end here.
Theo Johnson is the tight end that I want, but I think we could maybe get him at one of the other picks. Or Holker.
Mm-hmm. Who were you thinking of?
Audric Estime. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The running back from
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. He kind of reminds me of. Okay. Let me talk through my thoughts here. obviously we know how much Sean Payton values running backs. The only reason that I would think that he specifically Audric wouldn't maybe be a massive fit is because of like I think he's just a bruiser. Like he's a huge running back. He's like 5'11", 230 or something. Like he's a tank. Which he just kind of reminds me of a little bit of Samaje Perine, which I don't hate that. I think Samaje Perine is a great back, and we used him a lot last year, and we might like him. If Jaleel McLaughlin kind of steps up more and becomes more of that like receiver speed guy, I just think that with what we've seen Sean Payton like to do, I think he kind of likes to have more of that, kind of more of that speed guy, and not always just the massive bruiser.
So we have some people chiming in the chat. D-Rock, who's been on our streams before, says go running back. Big E says TCU tight end. I think he's been taken. Don't quote me on that. Danny mentions if Theo is Theo still there. Theo is still there, and frankly, Brandon and I are in the same thought process there. If he's available at 135 to 145 in terms of those next two picks, that's probably the range in which we'll take him.
I mean, the only reason I'm saying Estime is
there's also
reminds
Isaac
me of.
Ariendo.
Is he there?
He should be.
Yeah.
In fact,
I mean the only reason I was mentioning Estime. Oh, Braylon Allen too. Oh. Braylon Allen and Corrindo are kind of my guys. But the only reason I was mentioning Estime is just because like he kind of again reminds me of Samaje Perine, and we've seen how much Samaje Perine worked well for us last year. And we could get him on a rookie deal. But I just don't think the only thing that gives me pause is like he just wasn't really used as the passing game. And I think we've seen Sean Payton values that so much. I think you could make a reasonable prediction that like you could still Jaleel McLaughlin get more of that, but that's the reason I was interested in Estime. But Braylon Allen is like kind of my dude.
Yeah, I think Danny, the reason why I'm wondering about prioritizing running back is one, it's both Sean Payton and it's a George Payton staplety, but two, Samaji's on the last end of his deal. And Javonte is on the last end of his deal and is still recovering just to a certain extent. Let me preface it this way: he's not recovering. It's just we just want him to be the same Javonte that we've been wanting, if you will. It was a bit of a rough year for him, but also given, I think maybe with where it's at here, maybe Braylon Allen, Will Shipley to a certain extent, and Giriendo, I feel like it would be a little bit hard in this type of scenario where the Broncos would sit on their hands and not take a running back. And also, but I will say this though, taking Braylon Allen, Braylon Allen would be for me the replacement for Samaje Perine, not the other way around. Not Javonte.
I mean, to me, Estime is the replacement for Perine, and Braylon Allen is just the replacement at running back. Like Braylon Allen is just he's your running back.
He's like
because Braylon Allen is he's not an incredible pass catcher, but he can catch passes. He's also a good blocker. He just kind of does everything well, and he's also built like an absolute monster. Like you can give him the ball. Like especially if you have a rookie quarterback, you can give Braylon Allen the ball 300 times and he's fine.
There's a reason why people in college
like you're going to wear down the defense.
There's a reason in college when people call him Derrick Henry. I'm personally going Braylon Allen.
He's built out of he's like a chiseled.
Do you want to go Braylon?
I'm okay with it.
All right, let's go Braylon. And Biggie Bronco, will come to you. I think you're thinking Tyler Davis. He was available. But I think that
Isaiah Adams I would actually have liked to take him too.
So we could have taken Giriendo here. Or Ray Davis, I think
is
he already went.
What?
Would you want to go? Here's the thing. Do you
I want Theo if he's there.
Do you want to go wide receiver again? Well, let's get some confirmation here. Estimate went to the Bucks. Okay, so Theo is here. Theo Johnson is here. I'm not batting an eye. I'm taking
with
Theo.
that. Yeah.
I'm taking Theo.
Just out of curiosity, who's available on the defensive line? I can't see it if you're doing it for some reason.
No, you're cool. Defensive line. Oh, whoops.
I mean, I love Javonte. I just think with that brutal of a ligament injury in the lower body for that position, I'm hedging my bets.
You can still get Wingo, and you're not trading up anything on a guy.
I think at least one of those is going to be there for probably at least the next pick. So I'm taking Theo while I can and running.
Okay. And and the thing we should preface this too, if there is a class to build around your young quarterback and to build around especially Bo Nix in this scenario, I love the idea of having these types of guys in the building. So Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo just went back to back.
That's
nice gamble there.
I jinxed it because I said they would probably be there at the next pick.
Nice call, Brandon. Maybe let's go to tackle. Oh, that's a bit tempting.
Rosengarten or Javon Foster.
Kind of double dipping on tackle here. I actually really like
Rosengarten's from Highlands Ranch too.
Yeah. And I think that the reason why maybe he's also on the radar is I know that Sean Payton prioritizes taking some of the local guys, if you will. I think he made it a huge thing when he was at New Orleans, is he would take a decent amount of players from the LSU pipeline
because he knew them.
Right.
I don't know if he knows the younger guys that are local.
No,
in Colorado yet,
but I mean, I like the idea if they can be able to work it to take a Rosengarten and a Drake Nugent if they can, Which actually, by the way, we didn't get a chance to look at that, but center, maybe for competition, there is Drake Nugent.
I want as many tackles as I can get in this class. So I would probably take either of those two, Javon Foster or Rosengarten.
Let's go with Rosengarten. Actually, people in the chat, if you guys disagree, let us know. We're strongly leaning toward Rosengarten. Looks like Big E Bronco said yes on Rosengarten. I mean, because the moment you do something like this is also like you're able to, if you will, have bookend tackles, developmental bookend tackles. And even though they signed Matt Peart,
you can't have too much depth to tackle.
And even though they signed Matt Peart today, he's a depth body. He's a depth body, and there's a reason why people have mentioned that he's just depth and that he's a backup tackle. There's a reason why people have said that. It's because he's not really a starter material. But you can never have too many tackles, and I think that especially in a class like this, it's very, very beneficial of this. So
there's two positions I want you to look at here. Show me the corners.
Oh yeah, corner. It's not.
Pritchard's interesting.
Okay.
I don't know if I take it.
Yeah.
Go to.
This is our last pick until 203. So I mean, to an extent, you're kind of talking about a reach here. If you're taking, to a certain extent.
Show me the defensive line.
Well, we could take the other defensive lineman Jordan Jefferson from LSU. But you got Myles Murphy, Logan Lee.
I mean, I think we need to take it. I'm with taking a defensive player. I don't love any of these guys. Show me.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we took Chop Robinson, but I'm just curious. Show me the edge players.
I was going to go to wide
just
receiver
out of
too.
Curiosity.
Xavier Thomas, Brady McGregor, Jalen Harrell, Solomon Byrd, Jalen Green. And then as far as a wide receiver, Brandon, maybe double upping on wide receiver, there's Rosemary Jack Saint, Luke McCaffrey.
Yeah, to me, he's more of a later guy that I would I don't know if I would take him here. I like him, but I just don't know if I would take another wide receiver this soon.
But this is also our last pick until the round 7.
I know. I just think here's the thing. I think we really need a defensive lineman, but I don't want to necessarily just
reach
for one. Like Myles Murphy is okay. I think he's kind of a reach. Logan Lee, it seems really high ranked. I don't know, but I do like. I don't like those guys. I love McCaffrey and Taj from USC is also insane. So I wouldn't hate it. Drake Nugent, I guess, is also interesting, but
see, here's the thing with Luke is I actually could see him in this round. I could actually see him in this round.
See who?
5th round. Luke McCaffrey. He's rated 180. McCaffrey. I can actually see him within this round. Like usually around this point in time, right in the 5th round, is you're talking about players that are, are raw prospects, but but developmental traits, and McCaffrey fits the bill of that. And I think that having that type of case where you're taking a chance on a guy like that, regard the local ties is local ties, it is what it is. But I just think that like you look strictly at the prospect, he's a developmental player. You develop him right, you're talking about a really, really solid player that you can plug into your system. And he's 6'1", I think, like 6'1", 6 foot. But he's got a big frame. I mean, like for a guy that size, and he's new to the position. And I also think that him playing quarterback actually helps his development to be a much, much better wide receiver. So I think that he does, to a certain extent, fall in this round 5.
You think they're going to double dip a wide receiver?
I wouldn't be surprised about it one bit. Especially if they roll with Courtland Sutton, and then they roll with Sutton, or better yet, they roll with Tim Patrick. You're talking about Patrick finishing out his contract, and then you add McCaffrey to the mix. You're basically adding 2 more wide receivers to that room. So, I mean, and Corley, kind of like how we explained Tim Patrick and Courtland Sutton to an extent, right? Corley can fit that bill of Tim Patrick, right? Because I think that the thing people too is like maybe they view Corley, if they do draft him, in that Michael Thomas role. Maybe not a big slot receiver, but a player that they can use and operate in space to a certain extent, the way that people have been explaining Brock Bowers, right? Brock Bowers is not a tight end. Brock Bowers is a pure, just top 5 player in this draft, skill player on offense. And I feel like you put Corley there, and I think he would thrive in space.
Yeah. I think we could go with it. I do think like
the other one is Rosemary Jackson.
I would rather take Washington or McCaffrey. I'm okay with taking McCaffrey. I do think, as much as I like the way we've gone so far, if we're talking about what I think they're going to do, I do think they are going to probably go after a defensive lineman. Maybe we should have done it earlier. I don't really like any of the guys that are available though, so I'm okay if you take McCaffrey. Like, I'm fine with that. The only guy here that is like kind of okay that I'd maybe take is like, I guess Tyler Davis is okay, or Murphy, but I'm okay if you take McCaffrey. I just think they probably would have gone more like after probably a defensive lineman a bit earlier. Like, I think we would have already taken one by now, but obviously we double dipped the tackle because we can. So I'm fine if you take McCaffrey. That's fine. There's no one else on the defensive side that I absolutely love, and I'm like, you need to take them.
And I hate to say force your hand, but the unfortunate thing is you're at pick 147, and your next pick is in the 7th round. So,
well, the next picks are literally like you're just dart throws. So
yeah, not to say that from 5th round to 7th aren't dart throws, but but yeah, if you really do like him enough, just go ahead and just take him, and then because if you feel like he's not going to be there, which based on this scenario, he more than likely won't be. Or not more than likely he won't be.
Yeah, I'm okay with taking McCaffrey.
Sanat went to the Bengals. Holker to the Vikings. That's an interesting one. Dylan Laube to the Saints. Joe Milton to the Steelers. Oh man.
That quarterback room is hilarious.
Oh. Joe Milton, Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields in the same quarterback room.
They have Joe Milton at home. His name is Russell Wilson.
Okay. So dart throws.
I'm going after defense with these dart throws. Okay. Defensive line or maybe even linebacker or corner.
So of note, probably wouldn't hurt maybe to look at some Illinois players. But Steel Chambers, maybe the best name.
Oh my God. Yeah, I forgot about Steel Chambers. That's kind of he's good too. Like, he's also just a kind of good player.
Tyron Hopper, Darius Muasau. I feel like he's
Didn't we meet with Trevin Wallace?
We did. And actually, I think it wasn't it a top 30 visit or something? Or that's just that they met with him.
Let's find out.
I feel like maybe what we could do here is like a dart throw with safety and linebacker.
I can't find what kind of meeting it was, but I actually wouldn't be surprised if we took him there. We already have the kind of like, I think they're probably going to take a linebacker, and we've met with them. I don't know a ton about him, to be honest, but I just think the connection is there. What corners are available?
Corners. Johnny Dixon, Josh Wallace. Daquan Hardy actually has been kind of getting some range from like the 5th to the 7th, if you will. He seems like a nickel corner. We did meet with Marcellus Dial, I believe, at the combine. Jarius Monroe is the one.
See that one.
Jarius Monroe is one that we definitely did meet.
Yeah. These are definitely dart picks. Would you rather throw a dart at corner or linebacker?
Well, let's go to safety for a sec. Oh, look at that. Nebraska safety, Omar Brown. There's also
No, I'm out.
There's also Trey Taylor from Air Force. Kind of surprised he's rated that low. Like, he actually had a really, really good year. He had a really, really good year with Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he win the award for the best, like, what is it, safety in the country or something? Like, he won a top award.
The Jim Thorpe Award? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so I can't see him lasting that long.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with linebacker. I mean, you could take Trey Taylor. I wouldn't hate it. So I'd be okay with Wallace or Taylor or Steele Chambers.
You just want to say Steel Chambers again.
Yeah, I did.
Well, I mean I think the idea too now is with Cody Barton in the building, as much as maybe that contract rivals Alex Singleton's first deal with Denver, which is like dirt cheap. It was a 1 year, $4 million deal. Like it's worth putting another investment in that linebacking core.
Yeah.
Especially too, given the health of Jonas Griffith.
That's true.
So Steel Chambers, I'm good with that.
Now, you just wanted to draft someone because their name is Steel Chambers.
You know, another one that would be a nice little dart throw. Center.
Yeah, well, the only thing that linebacker that just is intriguing to me is the Justin Strnad 360.
Yeah,
even though he's kind of done nothing, but
which, by the way, kudos to whatever we
Frank
were told.
Jr. Oh my God, draft him.
Whatever we were told, about the players hating Sean Payton. Bro, that is twice in one off season where a player has dipped. Actually, maybe it's 3 because I think that Kliss mentioned about Adam Troutman. But Will Lutz was supposed to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. Justin Strnad was going to end up being a Carolina Panther, which, by the way, I mean, not to poo-poo the Carolina Panthers, but we at least appreciate the fact that Strnad appreciates a good franchise when he sees one.
Yeah.
Take a third tackle.
Go to defensive line, and then go to edge. Yeah. No. Go to edge. Yeah. I'm just like getting an idea of who's out there. No, I'm not really feeling any of these guys either.
Miles Cole was at the combine. I think Fatui was at the combine. As far as best player available,
I'm okay with a center or like maybe a corner. Take Trey Taylor here.
Yeah, take Trey Taylor. You hate to say it's like the Chad Kelly situation, kind of doing right by Jim Kelly when Elway was here, but also if you're going to be keeping the theme of doing local with Rosengarten, Trey Taylor makes a ton of sense. Plus, you're doing a dart at the safety room.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. At this point, it's just like priority free agents.
Right, exactly. So, are you ready to be graded at like a C+?
Who cares about grades? C is passing.
That's what we were always told in school. C is passing. So with that, I like the draft still about how it unfolded. We were able to acquire draft capital. Anybody that is late to the party, we were able to acquire some capital. We were able to acquire some capital, trade back, and take Bo Nix. We were able to get Chop Robinson, Malachi Corley, Patrick Paul. We did end up getting Braylon Allen and Theo Johnson. Roger Rosengard, they really hate Luke McCaffrey. Holy cow.
No, I don't care. I do think this is probably more offensive heavy than we actually go. That's my only.
But to an extent, though, I think
issue.
But again, though, if there is a draft to build around your young quarterback, if there is something about that like, and you're building it around him, it makes so much sense to still take your quarterback and build around him if it's any conceivable way. And maybe one of the reasons why the best way to possibly do that is you trade back, you acquire the capital, you finally get your second round pick. And then at that point, you're having those conversations of like, okay, we can literally build our roster around this guy. Bo or whoever it is that their quarterback, will end up being. So,
because as much as I'm not a massive Bo Nix fan, like he does fit what Sean Payton likes, and if I'm literally just looking at the first 3 picks of Bo Nix, Chop Robinson, and Malachi Corley, I don't even care what the rest of the draft is, to be honest. I mean, I know we need tackles, and I'm glad we got 2 of them, but that's a fantastic third round, like 3 rounds. Like if we took Bo Nix and then we took the wide receiver from Oregon, whose name I'm completely forgetting right now for some reason, Troy. I don't know who would have been available in the 3rd round, but like I think the combination of like Chop and Malachi Corley is probably better than what we would have done if we took Troy Franklin and then an edge player in round 3. Like I don't think you're
exactly. Yeah,
I don't think you're getting close to the value that you get here with. I mean, obviously they haven't played it down, like you don't know, but just like as a prospect, Chop Robinson is an absolute monster freak. He could be very well our next star pass rusher. Malachi Corley is a fantastic wide receiver. Whatever you think about Bo Nix, like he's in the building. He fits what Sean Payton likes. Patrick Paul, Braylon Allen. Like I know people can say whatever they want about taking running back, but he's just an all-around fantastic running back. He's good in the passing game. He's good as a blocker. Javonte Williams, you never really know what's going to happen. He's still back from that very bad knee injury. As much as P-Ren's going to be a free agent, he's not getting any younger. Like this is a good draft. I like this draft.
I mean, even if you go and just extend it just a bit further and you just see Braylon Allen and Theo Johnson right after that, like
and Theo Johnson's just a freak.
Yeah, it's really hard not to like this draft. You know what I mean? Now, Brandon, I know we're at
we got some absolutely ridiculous athletes in this class.
I know we're at an hour and we're at an hour and a half, but would it be worth asking the chat just to at least humor the whole Pro Football Network crowd of them doing another mock draft? Just as far as a bonus mock draft, do you think it would at least humor the crowd, humor you, possibly even doing a Pro Football Network mock draft?
We need to be quick. We would need to be quick because I don't think people want to sit around here for another hour.
I don't know. We did an episode where we lasted an hour.
It's up to you, chat. What do you guys want to do?
Chat, chime in. If you guys don't want to do another mock draft tonight, that's entirely up to you. We
can try it. Send your mock.
Try it. Carter, especially if you are listening, we will humor you and we will do, and we will do Pro Football Network. Ark is saying that he'll sit
24/7 sitting here with you. All right, go ahead.
Okay. All right.
I do think we can. If I'm being honest, I do think we went too offensive heavy in the beginning. I like the draft. I just don't think that's what we're going to do. Like, I think we're going to, specifically on the defensive line, I think we're going to take someone in probably the top 100 picks.
You're just a hater. Like, I mean,
I picked most of the picks.
You're just simply a hater. Like that's kind of like, all it is. Okay, we'll go 7. We'll go slow so we can read the picks.
We can't see, by the way. There's no screen share.
I know.
Oh. Okay.
Let's see. Okay. We are at 7 picks. We are going slow. And now let's enter the draft. Caleb. Drake May. Marvin Harrison to pick number 3. Dallas Turner. Joe Alt to the Chargers. See, that just screams. Oh, there it is.
Okay. This is the somewhat more realistic. Okay, Olu going where he probably should. Wow, the Giants traded down for that. That's insane. Tyrion Arnold at 10?
You just wanted to have a Brock Bowers situation here. Oh, that's even tempting, though.
Is it, though?
They're offering a first-round pick.
Yeah, but we're not using it in this draft. Jaden Daniels is sitting there. Just kidding. You know me. You know I want to hit the chaos button and take Brock Bowers.
Honestly,
tell me it wouldn't be fun. Tell me it wouldn't be fun.
Given everything that we've just did, but again, like, you know, I'm pro Brock Bowers, and I already told you I'm with you in the sense of if he's there at pick 12, if I'm solely sitting there and especially given we just did a trade back scenario, I'm taking Brock Bowers here, especially, you know, like, he is a top 5 player in this draft, right? He's a top 5 player in this draft. And I think that if you simply, I don't understand sometimes people when they look at Bowers and they simply see the tight end position by his name. Just because it says TE by his name does not mean he's a tight end. And frankly, just as we were talking about, Malachi Corley, or even who was the other guy that we were talking about earlier, using him in space, in the last draft that we were doing.
That's Malachi Corley.
But the idea that you can use him as a big slot receiver, like Brock Bowers is exactly that. There is Daniel Jeremiah is not, an idiot by any means. If you can actually,
we didn't talk about him that way, but you can use Theo Johnson that way.
You can, yeah, you definitely can. But Bowers has far more versatility to his game, and you hate to say it, Big Mike.
I'm saying take it. I'm just saying take it.
Big Mike, if you are watching and listening to this stream, I'm sorry, but the moment Brock Bowers is in the building, Greg Dulcich is on the hot seat if he's not on the hot seat already in 2024.
Look, he hasn't done much, and I hate it because I liked him, but when you have the injury issues, he's basically done nothing. I'm sorry, but it's true. So,
all right. So you don't want to trade.
No, take Brock Bowers.
We're taking Brock Bowers.
Let me just spice it up here a bit. When we get to pick 25, pause the draft.
Okay. All right.
But take Brock Bowers.
Hopefully people can actually, meaning teams, acquiesce a request if I think I know where you're going.
I just want to see something. We did it. Jaden Daniels at 13 is impossible. That's literally never happening.
You said 25, right?
Ish. That's an interesting pick. Johnny Newton. Okay. Brian Thomas Jr. That's a good. That's a good nasty pick. Chop Robinson the first. Yeah.
I'm not gonna. That screams.
The Eagles are horrifying. Cooper's. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Nate Wiggins. All right. So here's my thing. Would you trade up now for Bo Nix, and you have Bo Nix and Brock Bowers?
Well, here's the thing. You also got Adonai Mitchell in here.
But I'm not trading up for wide receiver. There's going to be a wide receiver at the next pick, 1,000%.
So let's. This is a great
thing. We didn't trade down though, so we have 4 picks left. 5 picks. Sorry, 5 picks.
Yeah. So we're giving
4. We have 4. I lied.
We're giving up future capital.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is the appropriate time to pause it because you have the Bucks and you have the Cardinals and the Dolphins here. So let's just work with this. So we'll trade with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's go confirm.
Because none of those guys are getting quarterbacks. So someone's trading there if someone wants to go after.
Let's try hard and not give up 76. Probably are going to give up first.
Don't go with pick. Give them 136. And then maybe next year's
Fourth.
Yeah. All right. Before you click propose, would you give up next year's first round pick for Bo Nix? You're spending 2 first round picks on Bo Nix.
Well, why don't we test this? Because
would you do that? Well, you're going to have to.
But let's just try it. Let's just try it.
That you're gonna have to put more in the pot if you're not giving them next year's first.
We'll try it. We'll try it.
It's gonna kick you out.
It's gonna kick you out. All right. So we'll propose the draft. We'll go back here.
That's like robbery.
Hey, you got to start somewhere. So
they're not answering the phone again. For 145, fourth, next year's first.
I feel like you almost have to, don't you? Like you almost feel like you have to do a first because more often than not.
Oh, you have to do it first, obviously.
Yeah, because like the moment you're trading back into the first round.
Let me throw some names at you. Shedeur Sanders is still kind of in the mix next year because we could be so bad that we could get him. But
the class in general, though, is
Drew Aller, Connor Welgman,
Carson Beck.
Carson Beck is interesting, but Carson Beck or Bo Nix? I don't know the answer to that question.
I go Bo Nix.
Quinn Ewers. Right, he's draft eligible next year. That blows my mind. Like,
should we see if we can get another pick out of this, like from the Bucks? Like
I don't think you can.
Like maybe like a future fourth or something, or
we're not going to use it in this pick. We're not going to use it in this draft. So who cares? I mean, you could try to get like 92 or 125, but I doubt it.
Nope.
Yeah. All right. So go back and we're making this happen. Go back and propose a trade. We're just gonna give her more stuff next year. Like, who cares?
I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Now let's do the Cardinals because the Cardinals, they're probably not taking it.
You can try it. Just do the same package. 27 next year's first, 145 and next year's fourth. You might have to do. That's kind of insane that they would reject that, but I mean, at this point, we're just going to have to throw more in there. So do like 136 next year's first, next year's third, and maybe even next year's fourth, or like 147.
Man,
yeah. There's no way to force them on here.
No,
that's insane.
There's no way.
Okay, so just for the sake of finish the trade, because I don't really care about next year's picks, just give them a bunch of picks next year.
Okay,
like you're still gonna have to give them like probably, sure, and give them like the third too. Like, who cares about next year's picks? It doesn't matter in this example. I just want to see what this draft looks like if we're trading back into the first and getting Bo Nix. That's really my goal.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Just force it. Just give them every pick next year. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter in this example. I just want to see what the class could look like. You're going to have them. No. Next year.
Okay. Just had to be sure.
Just give them like a bunch of picks next year. And then you're still going to have to give them probably like 136 and maybe even one. Yeah, that's probably fine. Like, if they don't take this, I quit. Okay. Just to see what this looks like. Now go ahead and resume it and we're going to take Bo Nix. I just want to see what this class could look like if we did something like this. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we definitely want to trade with the Kansas City Chiefs.
No.
Oh, and we
absolutely not.
We want to do business with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
We're just going to reject these.
Okay,
All right.
we'll take
So
Bo.
Take Bo. And then let's just see where this turns out.
Because that is a scenario that people have mentioned on social media before, or the last few days, is that they have said, how would you feel if the Broncos double dipped, and maybe they take a Roma Dunze at 12, and it's the Brock Bowers thing situation here, but like they just take a Dunze instead, and then they take Bo next. Like it's just Malachi Corley at 35.
That's why I was surprised we got him in the third. Once we get to past our next pick, we might want to pause it and speed it up again, because if we're in the 6th round and it's going this slow, it's going to be.
I don't know if you can.
You can't do that.
Not that I can see.
Oh, that sucks. Oh, we're just going to be sitting here for 30 picks. Troy Franklin.
Into the Giants. Is there a pick while we're here? Is there a pick that you feel is your nightmare scenario?
In round 1?
In round 1?
Yeah, I said Amari Mims at 12. I do not want Amari Mims at 12.
So you would not consider Bo Nix at 12 a nightmare?
I wouldn't consider a nightmare, but I wouldn't do it.
So then let's talk here. So pick 76. You've already gotten Bowers. You've already gotten Nix. I'm guessing offensive lineman, offensive tackle would necessarily be the way to go here. But seeing as
offensive tackle or defensive tackle.
But seeing as how there's a lot of offensive linemen that are running off the Braylon,
or maybe even wide receiver.
They really hate Braylon Fisk. Holy cow.
Braden Fisk.
Yeah, Braden Fisk. Sorry. I had Braylon Allen on the mind. Mm-hmm. They really don't like Braden Fisk.
Yeah. He's not. He's ranked 68 on the board. It's just going according to the board.
And he might be available. Nope, he went to Chicago.
Why would you say that? At this point, I'm not trading more.
What's the next one?
No. Well, hide it. Just hide it. Or I guess
I reject it.
So who's go to tackle.
They do have Roger rated quite high.
Wow. Keep showing. Scroll down more on tackle. No. Go to defensive line.
All right, we'll go to defensive line. Dwayne Carter.
Dwayne Carter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really tempting. Linebacker, Trevin Wallace. They have him at 84. Corner.
He's really high up.
Oh, Mike.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Sandstill.
Sainristil? I don't know.
But he's a good corner.
Kyrie Jackson. Wow, they've ranked really low. Go to wide receiver.
Ooh.
To me, it's wide receiver, it's offensive lineman, or it's defensive lineman, or maybe corner.
I would say wide receiver, tackle, or defensive line.
Yeah. I'm not loving any of these at wide receiver.
I'm loving Dwayne Carter, though. Like, I
would be okay with Dwayne Carter. Yeah, go ahead and take Dwayne Carter. Or McKinley Jackson. Why was McKinley Jackson not there before?
Unless I just didn't scroll up all the way. But Dwayne Carter's a better prospect than McKinley, in my opinion.
Yeah, go ahead. You can take him. I do think we're going to take a defense tackle very high up. I wanted Braden Fisk, and I hate that you said it, and you jinxed it.
Yeah. Hey, you jinxed it with our other mock draft, and so it's only fitting. Where did Javon Baker go? There's Tez Walker.
You're gonna have to scroll up on the left.
Brendan Rice.
Oh, he's still available.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's really low.
If we luck
He's
out,
the auto pick if he's there.
yeah, there's no.
There's a lot of good wide receivers though.
Holy cow!
Yeah, available still. That's kind of nuts.
Wilson, Ted Walker, Baker. Our next pick is 121.
Right. We got a ways.
So
Austin
tight end.
Booker.
They have Theo Johnson at 129.
We're not taking it, but we got Brock Bowers.
I'm just saying. Guard.
Go to tackle.
They have Delmar Glaze.
Delmar Glaze is pretty high.
There's Goncalves. Or Goncalves. Matt Goncalves. Why we may be having a string on wide receivers now.
Maybe.
Just saw Johnny Wilson go. And Thrash. Burton. It's happening, isn't it?
Stop speaking.
Jalen Wright. Jordan Travis to the Raiders.
That's weird. Delmar Glaze. Cam Hart.
Where are we at a wide receiver?
Don't look at it. You're going to jinx it. Michael Pratt is going really high in all these mocks.
It's to Seattle.
Yeah. All right. Well, he's going to be there. So would you rather take a tackle or would you rather take a wide receiver?
But here's the trade offer, though. Would you do that one?
No.
Oh, they're basically give us 136 again. That's funny. Okay, I'm laughing.
I mean, you could, but I'd rather not.
Next pick is
go to tackle. To me, it's offensive lineman or wide receiver. No. I mean, Goncalves is the only potential maybe option, and then the rest of them are just going to all be probably there later. And Javon Foster, I would be okay with taking at the next pick even.
You also have running Bucky Irving.
No, I'd rather take Javon Baker. I'd rather take a wide receiver than a running back here.
I'm running to the podium for Javon Baker.
Take Baker.
Plus, if we don't take Baker, I wouldn't hear the end of it.
Taj Washington to the Texans is so good. Akai Wingo. Both the LSU ones are gone then.
I will say this, though. If we luck out and Goncalves is there at pick 147, that's awfully tempting.
Kyrie Jackson. Damn it, I wanted him too. Theo Johnson.
Johnny Dixon to the 49ers. Dylan Laube to the Cardinals. I love Laube. He's another one of those guys that I feel. There he goes to the Washington Commanders. Would you go edge here? Would you go edge here?
Scroll down more just for a second.
I love the idea of Javon Solomon. Linebacker, there's Arian Casey from Indiana.
Go to corner.
I really do like Elijah Jones. He's got a lot of size to him. There is Jarius Monroe.
No, they're going to be there later.
There's Tommy Eichenberg, Aaron Casey.
I think I'd take any of these linebackers, to be honest.
We do have Marist Lufau, who we basically met with, right? He was that what is it, the versatile linebacker from Notre Dame.
Go back to tackle for a second.
There is Javon Foster.
I would take Javon Foster personally.
Okay, no, I'm with that.
We haven't taken a tackle yet, and we can't come out of this draft without a tackle.
Agree. Yeah, I'm good with that.
I mean, I do want an edge player, but you have to capitalize on how good this tackle class is, and I think Javon Foster is.
And I think that Foster offers a lot of
be a starter. Maybe not an instant starter, but I think you could take him and he could develop. And if you lose one of your right or left tackles, depending on what happens with Garrett Bowles, gives you some.
The one thing I will say though with Foster, he does offer a lot of that versatility there that you could, depending on whatever happens, with McGlinchey and a spin and in a stint, you can go with him at right tackle, or you can even go with him at left tackle, barring whatever happens with Garrett Bowles. What would you do with 203? Would you maybe take a stab here, running back at that point?
It depends on who's available.
Because now we're getting to the dark throws.
It's gonna take a minute to get there. Now we're getting into like names that I don't even know that are being taken.
Isaac Guerriendo.
Jarvis Brownlee's pretty good.
Dylan Johnson from Washington.
Rasheen Lee is interesting too.
Cody Schrader. There's Frank Gore.
Frank Gore Jr. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be probably a free agent, but
I don't know. He's got the name.
Luke McCaffrey went to someone, just took him. I didn't see who it was.
As far as edge, there's Muhammad Kamara.
Well, I think we met with him. Why? Oh, I thought he was just drafted. Muhammad Kamara is.
He's a top. What is he?
He's in play for pick 203.
If he's available.
Trey Taylor went to the Bills.
Muhammad Kamara, though, how do you feel about him? Like, I feel like maybe the ceiling of Shaquille Barrett was, higher for him as a player. Kamara, the one thing that I think he has consistency-wise, he just went to the Falcons. I think that Kamara, he's got more consistency to his game in the early, aspects of his game, right? And I think it's just because of his high motor. But I think the one thing that we all know that benefited Shaquille Barrett was going into the room with Shane Ray and and Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware.
He does kind of overshoot some stuff sometimes. Like he's so power is such a big part of his game that he can end up missing a tackle because he blows past him in the run, which kind of sucks, but it doesn't matter because he's not available. Go to corner. Pritchett's interesting, but yeah. Who's there at wide receiver? Just out of curiosity. No. I don't know. What are you thinking? Who's there?
We haven't taken. Let's actually just look at the top players on the board. Oh, Isaac Guerriendo.
Yeah.
At 207. He won't be there at 207. I'd
rather take a linebacker probably, to be honest, but
I'm with it's hard for me to. Who are the linebackers? Well, I mean, you do have the one that we met with.
Liufau, yeah,
the one that we met with. That.
You could take a running back there. Guerriendo is just such an absolute freak. I wouldn't hate it.
He would kind of fit your offense in space in terms of like a space eater at running back. And then you have that with Brock Bowers as well. He kind of fits that mold.
Yeah, I'd be okay with taking him. Dude's just an absolute athletic monster.
Because we still have 207.
He ran like a 4.3 40, didn't he?
Yeah, Kamara is pretty small. All right, so 207. Another dart throw here, if you will.
Yeah, I would probably throw it at corner.
Where's Walter Rouse?
These guys are probably going to get as free agents.
I'm just looking at some of the.
Oh yeah, go to who's there at center? Just out of curiosity. Okay.
Defense.
You could take Liufau here.
There's Tyler Owens, the absolute freak in the gym. That was on the combine, but he injured himself at the combine. I think he pulled a hamstring.
Yeah. Go to corner.
Quinn Newsome and Pritchett. Quinn Newsome, he may get drafted. He's a versatile player.
I like Pritchett better than Newsome.
But I think I would like Pritchett a little bit better. I actually like Omar Brown better than I do Quentin Newsome.
I'm okay with Pritchett, or you could take the linebacker that we met with just for the connection. I don't really know a ton about Liufau, but I know we probably would need a linebacker, and we've at least been doing our research on him. I like Pritchett. I think he's a good boundary corner.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't think you can have too many of those depth pieces there.
Nice. Don't need to worry about grades on this one. What you see is what you get.
Go to our picks then, just to recap that, because I don't really care about the rest of it. So we ended up getting Brock Bowers.
Anybody that's late to the party, Brock Bowers, Bo Nix, Dwayne Carter, Baker, Javon. Basically, it's the draft of Javons. Javon Foster, Javon Baker, Isaac Iriando, and Nehemiah Pritchett. Like that's still a pretty worthwhile haul. I think that, you have a really nice defensive line, like that you can groom with, and you can because I think that like now that you have that room, you address the trenches, and maybe you don't have a conversation with Mike Purcell about bringing him back, right? You don't have a conversation about maybe about bringing him back with especially a guy like that in that kind of scenario. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. To me, where we go in this draft is pretty dependent on obviously what's happening at quarterback and who's available at 12, and if we could trade in either direction. I think the future of Garrett Bowles is the biggest thing for me. Like, if we know he's not going to be sticking around, or he wants to be traded, or we even have potential trade partners coming forward, I think we're probably going to end up with a tackle. And I wouldn't be surprised if we would take one at 12. And there's guys I would take at 12.
You and I have had this conversation.
I'm okay with taking Brock Bowers. Go ahead.
You and I have had this conversation numerous times before. And if anybody, I do see some new people in the chat. I see GB in the chat. Again, thanks for stopping by as well. Ark, I see him as well. I think the thing is, like, my thing with Garrett Bowles, and like I said, you and I have said this numerous times, is that I feel like his fate is tied to like 3 different scenarios. If they take the tackle in the first round, you obviously know the Broncos have a trade in the works with Garrett Bowles.
Or they might cut him, or at the very least, this is his last year.
Or they
like,
might.
I think you can still take a tackle and you're still Garrett Bowles for one more year. Like, that's possible.
And then, the exact scenario to an extent is if they addressed simply tackle in the first 3 rounds. If they addressed tackle in the first 3 rounds, I think it's pretty easy to bet that they are either going to write out Garrett Bowles' contract, or that there is a trade in the works with Bowles if they get a tackle in the first 3 rounds.
Probably, yeah. But I mean, again, I think we can even take a tackle. We could take a tackle at 12. Garrett Bowles can still be the starter, but I would just think, like, if that's the case, this is his last year.
The other thing that I think in the other scenario that they'll roll with him as starter in 2024, like basically just like his contract, and then move forward with the their draft picks, is if they address 2. If they address 2 tackles in the room, or address 2 tackles in this draft class. And when I say address the tackles, in this draft class, I'm saying you get the tackle in the first 3 rounds, and then you go get another tackle. That's another one that's going to signal that Garrett Bowles either is not on that roster in 2024, he's a straight cut, or they will simply, roll with him in 2024. I would tend, if they double up on tackle in the sense of for the first 3 rounds, and then they get one in like round 6-ish or so, then you're talking about, maybe they are actually going to be cutting him, and that Bowles is actually a surprise candidate, because you're talking about two tackles at that point, and 2 tackles that are almost like your future, if you will, that you could develop.
I mean, if you take a tackle in the top 100 pick, Garrett Bowles is gone to me. At some point, it could be that we cut him. It could be that we trade him. It could be that he's gone after this year. But that's probably, to me, what that signals. But anything beyond that, like you take another tackle, that's just capitalizing on the strength of the draft class. To me, if you take a tackle in the top 100, Garrett Bowles is probably gone. And honestly, you can't not take a tackle that high in this class. You need to take a tackle with one of your top picks. It's such a good draft class for that. Garrett Bowles is not getting younger. He's not costing any less money. And from what you can tell, he doesn't want to be here. So I'm just honestly operating under the assumption that no matter how it happens, Garrett Bowles is probably gone. So I would anticipating we take at least 1 tackle.
Yeah, and I would anticipate the scenario too, just for whatever it's worth, is that if, say, they don't take a tackle, but they do move on from Garrett Bowles, and the Broncos theoretically punt on the season, I wouldn't even be surprised if, they move on from Bowles and they still roll out with, a tackle there, like, a Matt Peart, if you will, for just 1 season. And then, then they bring forward the tackle they drafted, or they send him out as your left tackle. But the other scenario,
if you take a rookie quarterback and you think he's going to play at all this year, you have to put Garrett Bowles in front of him, or you have to take a high drafted tackle. And honestly,
I agree with you.
If you have a rookie quarterback, like if we took, I don't even care if it's Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, I don't care who it is. You have a rookie quarterback, you pretty much have to keep Garrett Bowles, because changing up his left tackle, like you need to give him a good left tackle, and there's already few enough of those in the NFL. Like, I would not want to put a rookie quarterback and rookie left tackle back there.
The only thing that I would even maybe say, and what I was going to say about Bowles staying, depending on what they do,
maybe if it's even 1 year, like it could be that he only stays for 1 year, but for this year, you draft a rookie quarterback and expect him to play. I expect Garrett Bowles to be his left tackle.
But I was just going to say is that if the Broncos don't address tackle until round 5, maybe even round 6, maybe there's some conversations being had. Maybe there's conversations being had about a shorter term extension, and not
potentially.
and not the fact.
But here's the thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, and you're good.
But here's the thing. You'd be stupid to do that, to be honest. Like the
no,
class is so good, you have to take advantage.
I'm with you though, but like we're not in the brain of Sean Payne, so I'm just looking at it.
Yeah, that's just my opinion.
Yeah. All right, chat, and people that are watching the stream, thank you guys so much. And Bracing, doing another mock draft with us. We will be doing a little bit deeper dive into the draft prospects, and into them as players, maybe do some positional breakdowns, maybe take a little bit of a deeper dive into the quarterback room, maybe who the Broncos could actually address into that quarterback room. And obviously, as I said before, really make sure that you get a chance to tune into our April 17th episode, because we have a big guest a week before the NFL draft. Our time is not supposed to change, but he is a big time guest, and we are looking forward to teasing that in the first month of April. So yes, we are again looking forward to that, because you can't really script timing any better than the guests we're going to be having a week before April. So thanks again, and thank you again for chiming in the chat and doing 2 mock drafts. So Carter, if you are watching and you're still watching, we humored you and we did a Pro Football Network mock draft. Brandon, any final thoughts as we head out?
We had 2 drafts where we took Bo Nix, and I don't know how to feel, but
you got your wish about Brock Bowers,
so I'm okay. Although I do think, to be honest, I like the first draft better, even though we didn't get Brock Bowers in it. The first draft was my fave.
Yeah. And we were graded an A. I don't know if you got a chance to see that. We got graded.
Oh, I saw it, but I don't care about PFF grades in any context. So
I'm just saying though, like
I know.
It's just the simple fact that as much as we were hating the grade, they gave it an A. It still looks the same in the grade book. Is that it's an A. Again, thank you guys so much. We'll figure out certainly what to talk about next Wednesday. Stay tuned for another episode of the 5280 podcast next week. We didn't get a chance to do that yet. Yesterday, we want to wish our thoughts and our prayers again to Gage's family, and also a congratulations in them finding his mom. We want to wish him a congratulations in that. We are with you. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. The entire network is with you. We love you, Gage, and we definitely again are with you 100%. For Brandon, myself, and the entire MHRT network crew, we wish you a good night.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flame out. So high, I might never